Folks are okay with the idea that God delivers, but start walking like you've been delivered and see how quick people are to declare that you ain't no better than they are. Start punching holes in it, start trying to rationalize it away and undermine it. They don't know what to do with the God that loves the way he says he loves. They don't know what to do with a God who empowers you to stand steadfast in the midst of being persecuted. They don't know what to do with a God who sustains you in your weakness. You tell them and they don't really want to hear it because they got their own stuff that they're dealing with. And I'm not comfortable with the idea that there's a God out there that can do all this, because it begs the question, why, what about me? And I don't know if I believe that. And it gives me all kind of issues I got to work out, so I'm not comfortable with that kind of God, because that kind of God just don't make sense. God that would die for me because I ain't worth it. And he said, you are. No, I'm not. It causes problems. And now, just like then, they decry the testimony of a loving God. God doesn't do that. God can't. God won't. God wouldn't. Jesus is just a prophet. Christianity is another religion. Amidst the noise, now just as then, people start to wonder about it themselves. I heard tell of a God who does this. I heard tell of a God who does that. I believe it, but it don't make a lot of sense. So maybe there's something I don't understand. Maybe there's something that I don't see. Maybe there's something, somebody else will come along with another explanation to try to pull it together and to try to make it make more sense. But John speaks across the pages of time to believers now as well as then. But you belong to God, my dear children. You already won a victory over those people, because the Spirit who lives in you is greater than the Spirit that lives in them. Or greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Yes. Those people belong to this world, so they speak from this world's point of view, and the world listens to them. But we belong to God, and those who know God listen to us. The reason they can't see it and you can is because they operate in one spirit and you got another one. You see the world differently because you operate in a different spirit than they do. There's something different influencing the way you see the world, the way you experience things, the way that you process things, the way that you deal with your struggles. There's something different happening to cause you to see things differently. They see the world and they see life through the world's eyes. Their life is limited to the possibilities of this world and the spirit of this world. The idea that there is something beyond them, or something that you and I might be able to see that they can't, causes them a lot of angst. They don't like the idea that you see something that they don't. That you see a world differently than they do. They expect you to see it the way they do, and if not, you must be crazy. Believers see greater because we have a greater spirit that dwells in us. We believe greater, we anticipate greater, we hope for greater, because greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Yes. Their blindness ought not cause me to question my sight. Right. Just because you can't see it, don't mean I should have reason to question what God has shown me. Right. Everybody is not operating in the same spirit that you are. Everybody is not influenced by the same spirit that you're influenced. That's why everybody can't go along for the ride the way you do, because you're living in a different world than they are. Yours is a world of hope, of promise of God, of empowerment, of promise of deliverance, and they're stuck with what they got. We see the love of God shed abroad in our life. What manner of love the Father has bestowed upon the Son, that we should be called the sons of God. Many times they're offended. Many times they are offended that it is plain old basic you that seems to have the revelation. You can't be a son of God, not you. You can't be a daughter of God, not you. Why do you think you know my life better than I know my life? Why do you think you know what's possible for me better than I do? I can figure this out myself. You simple. I know where you come from. I know what your mama did. I know what your daddy did. I know what your grandmama did. You ain't no way you a son of God. Your own daddy don't even want nothing to do with you. But we who belong to God, yes, and those who know God listen to us. If they do not belong to God, they do not listen to us. That is how we know if someone has the spirit of truth or the spirit of deception. There is a baseline perspective that we ought to share if we're coming from the same spirit. There's a baseline hope that we ought to share if we are coming and living in the same spirit. And there's a baseline belief that we should all share in an incarnate Christ, which is also a belief in a God who loves with a love beyond human experience. If I believe that Jesus came in the flesh, if I believe that he lived, died, rose again, then that points to a specific type of God. And if I believe that that happened, and I believe that there's a God that loves me that much, then it means I believe in a love that is beyond human experience. And the only way for somebody to believe this kind of love is possible is to have encountered it themselves, because it will never make sense to you.
Right.
If you believe in the incarnate Christ, then you believe in the love of God. And the only way you can truly believe in a God that loves like that is to have felt it, because you have never experienced anything like God's love from anybody you've dealt with in your entire life.
Right, right. Amen.
It's not there. So the only way to believe in the incarnate Christ is to have been affected by the love of God. There's no way to be touched by God's love without being challenged by that love. When you encounter the love of God, it does something to you.